Not often that I can sit here and I can say that the fighter with the clean face got hit with significant strikes that total up to 271 over the course of 5 rounds. And the man who didn't get touched as much is looking like he just got into a car crash, looking like he has a movie set makeup on him, like a makeup artist in a horror film, like, touched him up a little bit. Rob Font's face got annihilated with knees, elbows, heels, all the things that outside of a boxing match pertain in a mixed martial arts contest, right? So while it did go to show that Rob Font was the superior boxer in this matchup, Chito Vera proved to be the superior mixed martial artist. Brother, in terms of the damage on Rob Font's face, when's the last time you've seen any fighter with the look, the mumps, the lumps, the bumps, everything on their face like Chito Vera did to Rob Font? When's the last time you've seen something like that?
Man, it comes to memory. I maybe just because I was rewatching it the other day, that JJ fight, but that wasn't anywhere near the bloodiness. It was just the size of the swelling that was taking place. The crazier thing, Derek, when's the last time you've seen somebody with this kind of mark on their face and they were the one hitting the dude more? That's
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
what's more surprising to me, man. It's insane how much damage Cheeto was able to get done versus how much output Font had with little power. Because look at Cheeto, he was a little scratched up. He had a little bit on him, but not nothing compared to yeah, exactly, nothing comparatively at all, brother.
Well, this actually reminds me of the Anderson Silva, excuse me, versus Chael Sonnen fight. So Chael Sonnen hit Anderson Silva a million times, and Anderson didn't have a scratch on him. This is kind of reminiscent to that. So it goes to kind of like the question, I guess I should say. Rob Font, he's been able to knock people out. I think he has like 4 knockouts on his record. So he has the power to be able to put people out. But as of late, when you get to that upper echelon of the bantamweight division, it doesn't really seem like it's taking the same effect. It really seems like it's volume over power, and Cheeto's strategy was power over volume, especially with the kicks. We had said it was the Rob Font jab versus the teep kicks, the long ranginess of Chito Vera, the knees, the elbows. We said all of this going into it. And I felt like everything that we said in the preview show was correct. And even you said, I think that Rob Font's the slicker boxer, fights more technically off the back foot, but I still think Cheeto's going to win. That's what you said, and you hit it right on the button, brother. I don't know how listen, I feel like intangibly, statistically, yes, Rob Font won. Fight-wise, no, you lose all day long. So let's talk about it a little bit, brother. Chito Vera, he just notched the biggest win of his career by far. This is not even close. And it did seem a little bit like Rob Font was kind of discounting Chito Vera, saying, well, I'm fighting backwards. I'm more technical than him. This shouldn't be a tough fight. But one thing, like I said in the intro, brother, that you cannot count out from Marlon Vera is the heart, the tenacity, the will, the will to want it. And when he was tearing up in his post-fight interview talking about this is all the hard work that I put in, this is coming to fruition, it almost made me want to tear up, bro. Made me want to be like, I need to go and run 13 miles right now. Like, I need to go get after it because if I put in the hard work, the glory will come. What do you make of this scenario?
100%, Derek. You put in the work. I forget who said it, but he said the harder I work, the luckier I get. And this is one of those instances. The harder you work, the holes present themselves. We were talking about the kicks of Vera being the determining factor, the way to go. Just like Font's jab. Little did we know, Homeboy's going to be spinning and throwing those kicks too, man. Hitting you with wheel kicks, heel kicks, everything, and then leading in with those lead elbows, man. I'm a big fan of those Marlon Vera, those elbows up the middle, man. Those look good. Crazy. Like the fact of what was going on. This is the perfect example of the times we see. Normally we see the death by 1,000 cuts motto kind of be going on, but this is the exact opposite, man. Vera said, fuck those cuts. I'm letting in with, slashes, big gashes coming in, doing dirty things, and still got the better of the fight, man. Very impressive mentality. And for a person to think, I'm going to take the first 3 minutes of this round off and then come back and have that mentality to be able to have the confidence in yourself, man. Very impressive for Marlon Vera going forward. This dude's a dog, bro.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And let's talk about a little intangibles regarding the fight, right? So Rob Font, because he missed weight, first weight miss in his career, he weighed in at like 138 pounds going into this fight. Cheeto still accepted it clearly. So that means that he wasn't eligible for any bonus. This was the fight of the night by far, 5-round banger, and Marlon Vera double bonuses, gets 100K that he gets to just bank that one right there into his savings account. There's a couple other things that were important. So he dropped Rob Font 3 times. However, he was outstruck 271 to 159 in significant strikes. But the big key right here is that Marlon Vera, believe it or not, like right before our eyes, he has now entered the 5th most UFC wins in bantamweight history. So just like that, AJ, just like that, This dude Chito Vera, who puts together a streak and then loses, puts together a streak, loses, has a good time, and then drops it against the higher opposition, finally puts it together, gets into the top 5 of the bantamweight division, and is number 5 in most wins in bantamweight history. More wins than Rob Font, but he's been in the company a lot longer as well. Before I ask you what you make of that, I did want to just put out this note that I saw from Damon Martin, who is now over there on MMA, mixedmartialarts.com or something like that. This was like a former, I don't remember where he's at. I thought he was at MMA Junkie or something, but you know Damon Martin. He said, Rob Font looks like he's been headbutting a cinder block for the last 25 minutes. That was the metaphor, you know, the comparison, I guess you could say. And when I pull it up again, does that look like a man who's been headbutting a cinder block for 25 minutes right there?
Something like it, Derek. The only thing is that cinder block punches back because, yeah, there's a lot of damage on Ron Font's face, man.
Yeah, absolutely. So what do you make of it, brother? I mean, Chito Vera has all these accolades now. He's finally catching up. I think Jason Perillo had said that your mentality is finally catching up to your body. You know what I mean? Like your body was primed, ready to go, but now you're mentally there as well. Do you agree with that assessment?
100%, man. And I think they really showed in the post-fight breakdown with how emotionally invested Chito Vera is, man. He was working a lot harder than every other camp he's ever worked in, and it showed in the performance, in the speech afterwards. You know, it showed in everything he did, man. And I think it is finally the era of Chito Vera to come in, man, because he's looking like a world beater now, especially mindset ready as well.
I agree. So let me ask you this, because this is the big takeaway that I have from this fight. For Chito Vera, now that he is coming into his own and all that good stuff that we just talked about, is he this new, how would you say, archetype of fighter, right? This new archetype that we haven't seen in quite some time that we would call the marathon fighter, right? The dude who is built for 5 rounds. If this was a 3-round fight, this would have been a lot closer than what it was. But given that it was 5 rounds, he really shined in rounds 4 and 5. So going up against the top guns, the Piotr Jans, the Jose Aldos again, right? The Corey Sandhagens, in a 5-round fight, this marathon style of Marlon Vera, the low volume, high power style of Marlon Vera, who could throw full on power rounds 1 through 5. Is this a new real deal threat with this new archetype in the bantamweight division?
I like the way you're phrasing that, Derek. The marathon runner, you know, the deep water runner. In triathlons, they always say it's not about, I guess in races in general, they always say it's not about how you start, it's about how you finish. And I think that's the perfect metaphor for the way Marlon Vera fights, man. He doesn't care how rough the start was, whatever heels he has to battle, whatever mental challenges he has to get through. It's all about how you finish. And if you finish strong, you look good. That's what gets the points for the judges, man. And it's really if Font wants to keep that up against these people, you know, these upper echelons, the Jans, the Aldos, the Sandhagens, the Aljos, all these top, you know, upper echelon fighters, I think that's going to be the harder of the roads to toll. But at the same point, once you break somebody mentally, you know, like for instance in the Font fight where he's giving him everything he has, he's cracking him left, right, uppercuts, you know, everything, literally throwing everything but the kitchen sink at him. And the dude is still standing there talking shit, smiling back at you, and then throwing more power than you can and you can muster up. It's a debilitating mental state for somebody to be in that isn't mentally strong. So I can see that working. But at the same point, you leave somebody like Corey Sandhagen the first 3 minutes of the match, he can probably snatch something up pretty quick if you're being a little too lackadaisical. So risk reward, which one do you see it more as, Derek? The risk or the reward?
It's risky. It's very risky. I mean, Jason Perillo even said it. He was all like, you can't let a dude like Rob Font get up on you like this, man. You have to be busy. You're a slow starter. Let's get it together, right? So I think it will be dangerous against some of these more elite oppositions in the top 5 of the bantamweight division, because this is the most talented division in on the UFC's current roster. But at the same time, man, it's working for him, brother, because he won the other aspects of the fight. He won the stare down, the classic Mike Tyson stare down. He won the I'm standing up, I'm ready to go, I'm in the center of the cage. By the time you're standing up, getting off the stool, I'm ready to go. Let's fight right now. You know, he won all of those things that kind of demoralize and, like you said, debilitate your opponent mentally. You just broke his opponent mentally completely. I think that Rob Font mentally, he had some issues this night, you know what I mean? But Marlon Vera will do that to you. He'll do that to anybody, man. So I will say, huge win by Marlon Vera, by far the biggest win of his career. Shout out to him. Power, heart, resilience. You cannot not be a fan of Chito Vera after this fight. We've been big fans of him. I feel bad that I picked against him, but I'll tell you what, now this is one of those moments where everything lined up. He is ready to go for the big show, brother. Shout out to Chito Vera.